usual, I always go ahead and put my lashes on. I always try and film it, but it ends up, for some reason, every time I try and film doing my lashes, it ends up being at least 10 minutes putting them on. I don't know why. That never happens to me. I can put them on like that normally, but on camera, that's not the case. And then I went in and filled my brows in with the Anastasia Brow Wiz in Ebony. And then I have the Laneige lip mask on. I look like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with that little pimple that's on the end of my nose. Look at me. I am so festive for Christmas that I could even get acne on my nose just so I can be Rudolph. Look at me. That's called dedication. I forgot to tell you guys that my lashes are the Ardell number 113s. They are my favorite. Okay, so the first thing that I want to go in with is my foundation and Beauty Blender. This is like the travel case for the Beauty Blender. It doesn't have to be the actual Beauty Blender. You could put an e.l.f. sponge in here. It doesn't matter. But I think that it's so cool, nifty, and I think it was only $12 at Sephora, which that would be an awesome stocking stuffer. I got one of these for my cousin for Christmas. So it's just nice, to travel, and also it has ventilation, if you will, so it won't get like mildewy and like that sour, nasty smell as if you were to put it in like a closed container. This is my first time. I just decided when I bought this that I wanted to try the actual Beauty Blender. I think it's really overpriced for one sponge, but I will say that I have been loving it. And I also am gonna go in with the Too Faced Born This Way foundation in the shade Swan. I didn't hate the Born This Way, but I thought that it was so overrated. And I think that it used to accentuate my extreme dry skin, even though now it feels so hydrating and nice on the skin. But this was years ago when I first picked it up, so I'm just going to press the foundation into my skin, and I apologize. I wanted this to be a ramble while getting ready, but the audio started to cut out, unfortunately, so now I'm just having this foundation or this concealer creases on me underneath the eye more than any concealer that I have ever used. So I thought it was beautiful, loved the shade range, but it just didn't matter what I set it with, how I set it, how lightly, how heavy, what I mixed with it. It just wasn't working for me. The Anastasia Beverly Hills Fawn Stick Foundation Contour. By the way, if anyone is curious about a product I'm using, I will put it down below along with the shade and in the order of which I used it. So no worries, no worries. If I don't say it, just check in the description box. I love this contour stick, and I just don't understand why I don't hear other people raving about it. I think it's so pigmented. It doesn't take a lot. It's so creamy, and I guess that might be a downfall for some if you are just really oily, and some may not like it. I don't know. I think it has worked well with any foundation base that I have tried to use with it, and powder to layer on top of. It wears great. It is not patchy. So again, I just don't know why I haven't heard people talk about this product. So I like to use this as contour, of course, but I also love to drag it onto the apples of my cheeks just to really bronze my face up, and it's not too ashy to where I can't do that and it looks bad. Then I like to contour my nose, and I prefer to blend this out with a brush. I do not like to blend it out with a beauty blender at all. For the nose, I usually actually like to use my finger to blend it out, but I don't know why I decided to do it with a brush this day. So I'm never really precise about the way that I apply my cream, bronzer, contour, whatever, because I always go in and clean it up. So now I am just taking this on my jawline and underneath my chin to kind of create that shadow. And I also never like to drag foundation really far down to my neck, or down my neck, because I always go in with contour and I drag that. I prefer to drag it down the neck, just because I kind of like to look like I'm bronzy and tan, even though I don't want to put in the effort to, put on a fake tan. Actually, I would love to. I love having a good fake tan on. I love Loving Tan, the shade medium. It's such a good self-tanner, but I just don't have the energy anymore. After these past couple months, my flares have been so bad, I just can't do it. But no fear, bronzer and cream contour are here. Cream contour are here. So I also like to take this in the creases of my eyelids. I always attempt to do it with a brush, even though there's no point. I should just use my fingers. It's such an easier way to do this, and I think it just creates the most natural shade. Of course, this is a cream product, so it is going to crease some, but I always set it afterwards with like a translucent powder, but it still gives a little bit of shadow. And now I'm just going and making sure that everything is kind of blended together, just whatever's left on my beauty blender. And this day, well, I'm now taking translucent powder and just setting my under eyes. And I normally would just set my under eyes eyes, around my mouth, chin, a tad bit in between my eyebrows, and a little bit below my cream contour. But this day I actually tried the Jaclyn Hill Loose highlighter, whatever, or that powder, I can't remember, the blurring powder, and I should have not done it under my eyes. I don't know why I did to start out with. I should have just done it like on my chin, and like in between my eyebrows, and the shade ended up being a lot darker than it looked like in the container. And so I was kind of forced to just go all over my face with it, even though that's not what I normally tend to do. So that was a oopsie, a silly little oopsie on my part. And I always like to take a highlight to bring back like a dewy look to my face after using some powder. So again, if you're interested in the exact product and shade, it's down below in the description box. But this is the Glossier stick highlighter. I put that on the end of my nose, a little bit on my cheeks, always above my eyebrows to give it that fresh, good, healthy skin look that's very hydrated. A little bit on the bridge of my nose, below my brows, a little bit on the chin, just like the slightest bit. I'm just barely tapping. I'm just barely tapping my fingers on my face. And I'm sorry if you guys heard kind of that white noise in the background. I live in apartments, and you guys know that the walls are so thin. And so when they turn their water on, I can hear it. So that's what you heard, the neighbor. The kids getting ready for bed. And then I like to take this on the center of my eyelids as well. Now I'm just brushing my brows up with the Anastasia Brow Wiz. No, it's the Brow Definer. This is the Brow Definer in the shade Ebony. I did go down a shade in the past month because when I got my hair re-dyed this last time, we went a lot cooler of a shade than I have been going. Last time we went a little more warm toned, so dark brown looked better, but then when I dyed it a cooler tone, it just looked like I just didn't know what I was doing with my makeup. So I went down a shade darker, and then I went in with the Clear Brow Gel by Anastasia and set them. Now I am taking a Revolution contour palette that I love. it makes such a difference in my face. It looks so dewy, and like my skin is healthy, and like it doesn't have a gigantic rash on it from the Born This Way foundation. Let me know what you think is an overrated foundation. I definitely think the Born This Way is, for sure. And the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer I think is super drying. Now I'm taking a KKW lipstick and just kind of patting that, patting instead of swiping. The Tarte I love because of the pigment, but it creases. It is so drying and it's just tacky. I don't like it. So now I just pat this in with my fingers to just blend it out. Now I am going in with some translucent powder just to kind of blend around the area, so if any lipstick leaks out or tries to feather out, it'll kind of stop that. And the last thing that I forgot to do is put some blush on. This is the Tarte Clay Blush in Party. So I'm just tapping that in a little on my nose and chin